What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Bullish Chips, where we use a proven and repeatable strategy to make money every day. This channel focuses on the Bullish Semiconductor ETF, which goes by the ticker symbol SOXL, but the charting method and the trading method that we use, you can use it with any company that's traded publicly on the U.S. stock market. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you're notified whenever we release new content. We do release content Monday through Thursday and then once on the weekend, but sometimes we do release bonus content, so you want to make sure you're notified. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you like it at the end of the video. Just to let you know, our nightly and our weekend videos, they focus on identifying triggers and targets for trades ranging from scalps and intraday trades to long-term swings and leap trades as well. So if you want to deeper dive into how we set up our charts and the trading levels we use, the color coding that we use, make sure you check out the bonus content on our YouTube page. And for more information about the strat, which is the base of our trading and charting method, there's more free information in the description of this video. So just looking at today's agenda, we're going to recap today's price action. We'll take a quick zoom out and look at the week, month, quarter, and year perspective. Just keep everything in check. Then we'll zoom back in and set our 4-hour markers and our triggers and targets for Tuesday, along with a quick review of the triggers and targets for the week, the month, the quarter, and the year. All right, so just getting into the charts, excuse me, this is today's intraday price action on the 5-minute level. We're just going to look at it from a scalping perspective first. We did have today's opening print here at 38.23. So, if you're not familiar with this channel, there's a general rule that we use for scalping, especially early in the morning. We want to look for higher lows above or at opening print to get into calls, and we want to look for lower highs at or underneath opening print to get into puts. So we see we got the opening action here, we got a push down, push back up, so we got our overall range right here, the opening high and the opening low pretty much. We broke above that, we came back to the opening print, and we made a higher low. So you could have entered calls here, or you could have waited for this second higher low here and entered calls here, and then would have rolled these up higher lows basically until you got up here. You did get that flash to the downside where if you had stops, they were probably stopped out right there. If you were more on manual mode, because we did make it to this first target, the overnight high, you want to look for the next target, the previous high a day. Now it's a ways up, but if you wanted to hold on for there, then you obviously could have held on, got to the peak here, and once we started to get this flush, you would have wanted to get out. So decent move on the day. You could have got back in here as well, got that last little push to the upside. It would have been, you'd have had to watch it pretty close and probably in there on the 1 minute, but decent action from here to here. So if you had good contracts, multiple contracts at or at the money or in the money, you should have done pretty well there. The rest of the day we went sideways, which was kind of expected after the big move that we had on Friday, and then the big overnight move that we had to open up as high as we did from where we closed on Friday. Kind of want to. You don't want to go in expecting a sideways day, but you want to be aware that that's a high probability, right? So looking at it from the day perspective, let's go ahead and look at a better chart here. Excuse me. We can see here is that 11 week range that we had between 24 and 28. And we got the breakout, the big drop here on Friday, and then the inside day that we had today. Not too much to say about it. Again, not very much range because of the big range we had Friday, and then again the big open. We opened at 38.23, closed at 34. So $4 move overnight. After 43 to 34, so $9 move on Friday. So a lot of volatility there. It's not too beyond the imagination to think that we might just take a day to digest things. So what that does is leave us with a 2-1 from a strat perspective, which means we can have a reversal either to the upside or downside tomorrow, and we've got decent magnitude on both of those moves. So when we get in here to the triggers and targets, we'll identify what the exact triggers and targets are. Let's go to the week chart and let's get the week up. And we can see that, we had, started out real well last week, went 2 up. So again, went above the previous week's high. But we went and we pushed to this 100 fib extension of the April 7th low to July high to the July pullback that created a little bit of a flag there, a bull flag, and we can see that the fib extension was this 43.80, which we hit almost to the cent on that move last week to the upside. So we pushed up, we had the pullback. Again, we've been talking about the pullback is not beyond imagination because it's, look how much we've pushed in the previous weeks before. There's plenty of room to put in a higher low and continue an uptrend. So a pullback is not the end of the world. In fact, it's kind of looking for the pullback to get better entries on contracts to the upside if you're looking further out. Now, one thing we do want to take note of, if we do get a push down and get a higher low, we want to watch the push back up if we do get a bounce, because if we get the lower high, then now we want to reverse our thinking. That's a lower high on the week perspective. That's more than just a 4-hour or 1-day lower high. You got to respect that a little bit more, and that could be what propels us to the downside. I mean, you can see here we got the lower high on the week, and that pushed us to the downside in April. So we want to make sure that, even if we get the bounce, say we get go 2 down, failed 2 down this week, say we push down below last week's low and then push back up by the end of the week, and create, like even a green hammer, or even probably would be a red hammer. That's a lot of movement to do. You never know. We could get a green hammer, but say we get a hammer this week, and it looks like we'll get movement back to the upside the following week. We could get that initial push up at the beginning of the week next week, hit this weekly broadening formation, get a rejection and push down, and that's our lower high. So we just want to keep in mind that is still a possibility here. But the pullback is not the end of the world. So starting off the week inside, not a lot of movement after the big movement last week. Not kind of what is what expected so far. So looking at the month perspective, we've pushed back up. We're back in force with the 2 up, 2 up. We are still this inverted hammerish type of candle, but it is green, meaning the closing price today was higher than the opening price of the month. So we're still looking pretty good from the month perspective, but we do want to get rid of this bigger wick up at the top. Continue to push up, and if we can even leave no wick on top, that would be great. From the quarter perspective, and from the month perspective, no, we already ran those strats, so I forgot we're above that 36.15 level. Anyways, going back to the quarter, let's get a little cleaner chart here. So on the quarter, we are still 2 up, 2 up. Again, trying to get rid of that wick on the top, but we are still over the trigger of the 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up. Again, the magnitude of that move is 70.08, which is the high of last year. So again, not saying we're going to do it this quarter, but that is the magnitude of the move as long as we're above that 36.15 level. Again, from the year perspective, kind of the same thing every day. For a while now, we've reversed. Looks like we're putting in a higher low on the year perspective, continuing an uptrend. Continuing to push up would help build a case for a possible 2 down, 2 up next year with the magnitude of 70.08, which is the magnitude of the 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up on the quarter. So those would fall into play there. So we've got gaps to the upside, but we still got to get above last year's 50% line, in my opinion, to be really bullish. So there's plenty of room for pullbacks here, as we've had a real big push from the April 7th low. So continue just looking at things from the year perspective. Bullish because we've come back green. We had a big push down at the beginning of the year, but we've been able to push back from that and really formed like a hammer pattern from just a strictly candle perspective. So if we push back down to that year flip level, that 28.13, that's when we might become a little bit more wary, especially if we flip it red. Bullish outlook is kind of really off the table at that point, and we've got to take at the very least a more neutral stance. So looking pretty good though from the higher time frame perspectives. Just got to work through this volatility that we've had through the past couple of days. Again, we've had a real big push up from the bounce out of the range here at 28, and the pullback isn't the end of the world. So let's look at the scalp chart for tomorrow just to get ready for our triggers and targets. Let's go down to the 5-minute chart, and it's just the same thing that we've talked about earlier, right? So we've got our previous high day, overnight high. Again, that's going to change. We haven't moved it yet. That'll change by tomorrow morning. And then we've got previous low day, and the overnight low will change as well. It'll be on the table. But if we, right now we're down in after hours. So say we do open up down here, and we get a little bit of a push up. We reject off of last week's 50%, which is this purple dash line, and we get a pullback, but we get a higher low above or at that opening print, and we want to get into calls. First targeting overnight high or previous high a day, whichever one comes first. Once we reach the first target, obviously the next level is the next target, and that from a scalping perspective would be the extent of the move. So you probably want to take off most of your position by that point, if not all of it. From there, though, you can look at the 4-hour and day triggers and targets. So let's go to the 4-hour chart and just look at things from that perspective. Again, we've got a 2-1 inside candle for the second 4-hour candle of today. We're right at this 78.6 fib extension of that April 7 low to July 7 high, end of July pullback. So again, we've already rejected off the 100 fib. We're at this 78.6 fib again, just slightly below it. Could we possibly push down to get another test of the 61.8, or even a full test of this 50%? Because we never made it to that fib extension with the push down on Friday. So that could be a possibility, but we've got a lot of magnitude to the upside. In from a high time frame perspective, we're in an uptrend. So if we do get that push back up, not a lot of magnitude on the 4-hour move, but on the day move there is. From a 4-hour perspective, if we go above 39.33, the magnitude for that move is 39.47. So again, not a lot of magnitude there, but that does trigger the 3 2 down combo 2 up, which has a magnitude of 42.84, which was the high of Friday. So there is a lot to shoot for to the upside if we do get that push up. One thing to take note of, we are already at this market maker's expected move high of 39.62. If you're not familiar with that level, make sure you check out either the Thursday night or weekend videos where we dive deeper into the market maker's expected move and how we get that level. So we do want to kind of take note of that. Again, market maker's expected move is not an end-all be-all level where price hits and will always reject from. There's been plenty of times we've gone through those levels, but a majority of the time, about 70% of the time, we do stay within that market maker's expected range. So we have the high up here at 39.62 and the low here down at 28.80. Again, we're up at the top of that level there, of that range there. So just want to keep that in mind. We are as well running into this weekly broadening formation, this purple line, and the daily broadening formations that are all converging here around this level as well. Again, we don't put a lot of weight into trend lines, but there is a slight downtrend here on the 4-hour. We did have the lower high and lower high. This is more of a soft lower high because it's that 3-1 candle, bullish engulfing candle. Bearish engulfing candle. But they are a succession of lower highs and lower lows. So we are technically in a downtrend from the 4-hour perspective. So we want to keep that in mind. When we do get up to this level, could we reject? Do we even get up to the very top of this magnitude? Do we reject somewhere before that? At this downtrend line, that could be a possibility, and just want to keep your eye out for that. Now to the downside, a little bit more magnitude on the 4-hour chart. So from like a day trade perspective, if we go below 38.70, the magnitude for that move is 37.37. But then again, if we do get below that, then that triggers the 2 up, 2 down, combo 2 down basically on the 4-hour chart, which triggers at that 37.37, and the magnitude is down here at 34.17. All right, that's last week's low as well. So then if we get to that level, we run the risk of going 2 down on the week. So that would at least, in the near time frame, could be a possible higher low wherever we do end up. We do have this gap down here and here as well. So how far do we go down if we go 2 down on the week? We want to take note of that, right? So let's just go and look at the notes and just look at the numbers here. So for tomorrow, which is Tuesday, October 14th, there will be 53 trading days left. The previous close will be was 39.14 today. We know what the opening print for the week was, 38.23. So if we go below that, the week turns red. The month turns red at 34.17, as well as the quarter. The year turns red at 28.13. Again, we talked about the market maker's expected move, plus or minus $5.41, giving us the range of 39.62 to 28.80. And we know where our gaps above and gaps below are as well. All right, from the 4-hour perspective, we talked about the 2-1-2 down, triggering at 38.70, magnitude of 37.37 with an extended target of 35.49. That's the larger move, the 2 up combo 2 down on the 4-hour. From the looking to the upside, if you get the trigger to the upside, it's a 2-1-2 up, which would also, if you reach the magnitude of the 2-1-2, would trigger the 3-2 down combo 2 up. So that 2-1-2 triggers at 39.33 with the magnitude of 39.47, which then triggers the 3-2 down combo 2 up. And because it's such a large move, we do have some intermediate targets of 41.01 and 42.25, but an ultimate target or magnitude of 42.84. From the day perspective, we would have a 2-1-2 down. If we go to the downside, that triggers at 37.37 with a magnitude of 34.17, and we've got an extended target of 33.18 as well. To the upside, it would be a 2-1-2 up, triggering at 39.47, magnitude of 42.84, extended targets of 43.37, 43.80, and 44.24. That's just if things get really moving to the upside. That would trigger the 2 up on the week as well. So that's why we put those triggers into the upside. To the downside, the magnitude is pretty large, so we only have the one extended target there, but it could be argued that we should be putting some further extended targets there as well, because we have had some pretty good momentum to the downside. From the week perspective, we're inside on the week, so we're still waiting for it to trigger. If it goes 2 up, 2 down, that triggers at 34.17, magnitude of 33.57. And we've got our extended targets of 33.18, 31.25, and 30.68. If we do trigger to the upside, that gives us a 2 up, 2 up, triggering at 43.37, targeting intermediate targets of, extended targets of 43.80, 45.67, and 46.79. Again, that would be a 2 up, 2 up continuation. So no magnitude on that move, just a trigger, and then the targets that we have out here, right? We've already looked at the month and quarter and year as well, so we'll just go over that real quickly. We've still in force with the 2 up, 2 up on the month. That triggered at 35.49. We did reach the target of 41.19, but fell a little bit short of that 43.80 extended target. And if we do push back to the upside, we've got that in our sights, and then the further extended targets to the upside. On the quarter, we triggered the 2 up, 2 up. 2 down, combo 2 up, and reached magnitude. That was that 36.15, that magic number we were trying to hit for such a long time. And then that triggered the 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up at 36.15. And we've already reached the first target of 38.89 as well as the 42.04. The full magnitude is 70.08, which is why we've got all these intermediate targets on the way. And even when we get to 50, we'll have to put out some more intermediate targets before we get to that 70.08 level. But again, we are still in force with the 1 combo 2 down, combo 2 up, as long as we stay above that 36.15 level. And then again on the year, we've turned around this 1 2 down, 2 up. It didn't quite reach its magnitude, but again, we've turned it around, made it a green hammer on the year. So don't think we're going to pull off a green 3 or a bullish engulfing candle on the year. That's a pretty big move to make in the last 3 months. So we're not really looking for that to trigger, but just want to stay continuing to push to the upside from the year perspective. Give us that good chance of going 2 down, 2 up next year with the magnitude of 70.08. So that's what it is for our triggers and targets here. I hope everybody has enjoyed the video. Again, I'm trying not to make them too long, but pack in as much information as I can without being too boring, right? So I hope the the video has been good for everybody, and if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Again, not selling anything on the channel here, just trying to give out as much information as possible. That's about it. I hope everybody has a good rest of their night, or if you're watching this in the morning, I hope you had a good night. Wake up refreshed and ready to trade on Tuesday.